Hey nerds, welcome to episode 81 of the Nerd Rundown podcast.
Oh, it's good to be back.
It is good to be back, Tony. Speaking of back, Indiana Jones is making his return to the big screen, and we're a house divided because of it. The Last of Us trailer looks ridiculously good. I'm out of my mind excited for the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Darren is worried his man crush on John Krasinski might be blinding him to Jack Ryan Season 3. 2 words, Cocaine Bear. Ready, hit it.
Hey nerds, welcome back to the Nerd Rundown podcast. After a short little hiatus, we're here to cover the latest in the nerd world of movies, TV, and more. I'm Darren Simple. With me today is my co-pilot, Eric Hare.
Hello, everybody.
I love it every time. You can find us on our social medias like Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, all at the Nerd Rundown. While you're there, hit the like button, subscribe button, and leave a comment and or a nerd box question. Love to interact with y'all. If YouTube's not your thing, you can find us on all the major podcast services. Eric, before we get back to another big rundown, let's hear a word from our sponsor, Combat the Chaos. Hey nerds, do you support your veterans and first responders? Well, here at the Nerd Rundown, we support our heroes, and not just the heroes that you see behind me that are drawn to wear a cape or throw a shield, but the real heroes who would lay their lives down so that we can talk about whatever kind of nerd we are. At the Nerd Rundown, our new sponsor, Combat the Chaos, is a veteran-owned clothing company. They donate portions of all their profits to veteran and first responder supporting organizations that are focused on mental health and suicide prevention. Veterans are at a 57% higher risk of suicide instead of those who have not served. This shirt is one of the items you can purchase if you follow our link to find them on Instagram at combat.the.chaos or at their website, combatthechaos.com. And use the code NRD for 15% off. Now, back to the Nerd Rundown. Okay, Eric, we are back on the rundown after like I said, a small hiatus. No shows while you were gone. We actually kind of took a little break from podcasting. I missed this.
I missed it. Me too.
I was excited to get back on this with you tonight and nerd out because there's some good stuff in here. We got some really, really big stuff over the last couple weeks. Last week was the CCXP Brazil ComicCon event, and studios showed up for the fans or the nerds. And first big thing that we'll cover is it's the first time we've gotten any kind of live action look. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, which is now the new name. Which might be the worst part about this whole thing, because I enjoyed the hell out of this trailer. I've got a new hype level about it that I didn't think I'd have. Hearing the indie music was like instantaneous emotion. What did you think about our first look at Harrison Ford's last?
Well, if you liked it, at least one of us did. So, I did not.
Back to not being the cynic.
Yep. No, I am deeply, deeply cynical. I think it looks terrible. The CGI looks awful. Like the whole horse scene where you can see his head, like when he's riding on there. I mean, I know we've got time before it actually gets released, so I'm sure they'll fix some of that stuff. But how did that even make it into the trailer? Like, how did that? Yeah,
that was. I'll say that part was bad on the horse.
Yeah,
but a little balanced out by the incredible. In the past shot of him, the young Indy shot.
I don't like it.
I thought that was a phenomenal special effect.
I'm not a fan of the de-aging. I really don't like it. I think if you want to do it for like a quick, like they did in the I think it was Endgame. Was it Endgame where they did the young RDJ?
That was Civil War
Is that one?
when he was talking to his parents.
Yeah, when he's talking to his parents. Yeah.
Captain
So
America
okay, Civil War. Yeah, I didn't
That was
mind
terrible.
that because it was
Oh, really?
just quick because it didn't seem.
Oh, it was more of like a 3D model than anything.
Yeah. So, but I don't. I'm just not a fan of the de-aging. I really don't like it. I thought this, there was some cool stuff in there. The thing that I've always loved about Indiana Jones was everything was for the most part practical effect. Like all the horse, him riding the horse, him going underneath the truck, him jumping here, jumping there. It's all like a stunt man. It may not be Harrison Ford, but it's a real stunt man doing those stunts. And that's not the case in this one. It's a lot of CGI and it's like, just don't do that. Like, just stick with what works and it's okay. Like, it doesn't have to be some craziness because the story is what takes people along. Like, that's the reason why I loved Indiana Jones, because it was a great story. It was funny, well acted, and the stunts were really, really cool, but you don't have
Harrison Ford is charisma on a stick.
let him do what he's supposed to do. So I think the name is ridiculously dumb. I think
It's so dumb.
The trailer looked,
it feels like a kid's board game. That title. Like, what?
I think, I've heard rumors, I've seen stuff. I don't know if they're going to be true. I don't know if it's true what they're talking about, then I'm really going to be upset about it. But if you want to know the rumors, you can look them up yourself. You can Google them and stuff like that. I'm not going to.
Are you talking about what Morgan talked about?
I have read the exact same thing Morgan read. I have heard it.
I will say James Mangold, the director, had a big Twitter thread about it today because it's gotten out of hand about this theory. And he says they are unequivocally, how do you ever say that word?
Unequivocally?
False. Whatever. False. There is no time travel in this. There is nobody taking over the Indiana Jones role. They are not going to a TV series after this. Because sometimes people just put out stuff for clicks and people want it to be true and it blows up or whatever, blah, 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 blah. So you can put that stuff to rest.
Yeah.
That stuff debunked by James Mangold, the director.
Yeah, well, I hope so, because if that was where they were going to go with it, I was not happy. But again, I don't know.
I hope not.
I'm not basing my reaction off of that theory.
No,
because
I can tell.
I watched the trailer and I was like, God, this, there's no flying monkeys or anything like that in this one. So I guess we've got that to look forward to. But I don't know. I'm my usual take is I'm cautiously optimistic.
If the story's good, can you forgive?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
Heavy?
If I'm gonna go see it, so let's just put that to bed. Like, I'm gonna go see it, of course. I just am very pessimistic about. I have not been impressed with anything that Lucasfilm has put out since Disney acquired them. So
when you haven't watched Andor, then
I have watched Andor actually, and that is the only thing that I just finished it the other night. It was terrific. It was absolutely terrific. So
how am I just now finding this out?
I did finish it. It was fantastic, and
we'll talk about it later.
But I mean on the big screen. So the small screen stuff has been where they've, but as far as like big screen movies and stuff like that, Lucasfilm, since it's been taken over by Disney, really Rogue One. But come on, I mean, how many movies have we kicked out? Out of there.
I get
so
it. I am not defending their film slate.
Yeah,
because it sucked.
And I think a lot of people feel the same way I do, and that's why Andor is not popular. That's why a lot of people aren't talking about Andor, is because anybody
did you go
who
back
has
and listen
watched,
to Critical Drinker?
Anybody who has watched Andor loves it, and I'm sure is telling everybody, hey, you need to watch this. But I think there are so many bitter and jaded Star Wars fans at this point because of how bad the material has been to this point, with the exception of The Mandalorian and with the exception of Rogue One,
Right.
Everything up to this point has just been so bad that we have a hard time giving that one a chance.
Totally.
And there's this element of people who really don't like the Rogue One story because they
Totally. It has its weird detractors.
yeah,
for sure.
and I don't understand that because I feel like it's a great story. Even though I know how it ends, I don't care. Like
Right.
I was okay with that, and
Yeah.
even with this Andor series, I kind of came to the conclusion that this is, yes, it's about Andor, yes, it follows Andor, but it's really about the rebellion and how the rebellion comes
And the Empire.
it comes to be. Well, you get to see how the sausage is made with the Empire,
Yeah.
so you really do, and you're like, whoa, it's a
Scary.
way better look at what the Empire is doing. And I'm not going to say that there's parallels to where we are right now, but there are parallels to where we are in some extent.
A lot of people think it's an allegory for sure.
Yeah, and so I don't know. But yeah, like I said, I will go see Indiana Jones. I will go see it because I'm morbidly curious. But I am hugely pessimistic about this. I'm not impressed with the trailer to this point. I didn't like. I like Boyd Holbrook. I like him as an actor. I think he's a good. He always plays a great villain. So
He's playing Mads Mikkelsen's henchman.
Yeah,
and he's supposed to be a hardcore Nazi and really bad dude.
Yeah, well, and he looks.
If you've seen the photo of Mads Mikkelsen's character,
yeah,
he looks like he's gonna be a scary.
Well,
scary
he
Nazi.
reminds me like he's almost the brother of the original guy that was the original bad guy in the first one. I can't think of what his name is. The little Nazi, dude. Because I know Belloc is the guy that's with him, but the dude that like walks around and gets
what was his name?
Thing burned in his hand or whatever. But yeah,
right.
So yeah. So anyhow, what were your thoughts then on the trailer? Did you?
Well, it's a teaser. Okay, so it's not going to give a lot about the story. It's not what it is it's supposed to tease our eyeballs. It's supposed to be a sizzle, and it did that for me. It gave me the idea that it's not taking place on a movie set. I get there's heavy CGI, and I think there's a grade to this film that probably could still be a little bit improved too. But it showed Indian action, showed a little bit of that humor that Harrison Ford can bring to the table. It definitely, I agree, that horse shot was terrible. Like, I know it's not finished. You don't need to put that in the trailer. It's not like if that was finished, people would be like, look at Harrison Ford riding this freaking horse. Like, right. It's not gonna be the shot everybody talks about unless it's a bad CGI,
right?
Which it was. So I get that, but expectation level after the last one, 0 heading into this one. Good for James Mangold. Very, like, he has never let me down.
Yeah,
everything.
No, I love James Mangold. So, I'm just concerned that this is a Lucasfilm.
You also
that James Mangold.
You don't like your heavy CGI stuff.
Yeah, I don't. I really don't. Like,
so I
think
get it.
James Mangold is great,
Spielberg,
but I worry that this is a studio film, not a James Mangold film. Like I worry
and that's probably a really good way of putting it, because it's Disney, and with their franchises, they're gonna have a box you have to work with.
I think Kathleen. I think if
we'll see.
I think if this bombs, it'll be the end of Kathleen Kennedy.
Well, there was a big rumor that came out over the last couple of weeks that she's on the bubble.
She should be on the bubble.
And Andor almost saved her. Like, yes, Andor's that good at saving Kathleen Kennedy's job. That's what I believe. I don't think that that's why she's still around. I think they're waiting for this.
Yeah, I think so too. I think if this pulls off, it may prolong the inevitable, but not for long, because she hasn't done well,
And you know what? Damn you, Tom Cruise, because you showed us how you can do movies like back in the day.
Yeah.
Like Top Gun Maverick. It was very little CGI. The way they filmed it, the way they wrote it, how nostalgic it was and wasn't. They gave the blueprint in that movie to movies like this that can play off those old nostalgic feelings.
I'm calling it now.
Okay.
I think Top Gun Maverick wins an Oscar for the cinematography. I really do. Or at least I'll say it wins an Oscar for the camera technology that they put into the cockpit. Like I think it'll win for that.
I think it wins. I think it wins a lot more. I think sound.
Sound probably.
You know, I mean, it better at least be nominated for Best Picture too, because everybody loves that movie.
Yeah.
Okay. Finally, we get to see what Indiana Jones in 2023 will look like. So, moving on. Something we've covered here, and I keep wanting Morgan on. He keeps backing out on us for life. You know, darn life.
Yeah, how dare you want to read your kid a book tonight?
Yeah, seriously. Like, did you even have to apologize for that? I'd just be like, I'm reading my kid a book.
Yeah.
Nerds can wait.
Yeah.
However, I really am excited because I feel like we haven't talked to him about The Last of Us since the big stuff has come out. And this is the final trailer. Gives us an idea of the story. I got so excited after this trailer that I went and downloaded the PS4 game and started playing it. And gosh, it's so good. I'm not even like out of the first part of the story yet. I'm just like, I remember exactly why this game is so damn good.
Is it on PlayStation Plus? Is it?
Yes, I downloaded it for free with the little yellow PlayStation.
Yeah, the little yellow Plus thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I do have PlayStation Plus. Maybe I'll pull it down and I'll come off the bench and play a little bit. I've got other stuff I got to catch up on. I've promised Meg that I will watch. I'm watching Stranger Things right now. I'm trying to get.
Forgetting you're not caught up.
Yeah, I'm trying to catch up there. I'm 3 episodes in. So I'll finish.
Really good in the next episode.
I will start. I will catch up on that. My normal holiday movie marathon, I think, is out the window this year, just with the being out for the week and stuff. I've watched a lot of movies, but it's been
weird. It's been a weird year.
Yeah. So maybe I'll pull it down, and so I've got to watch. Like I said, I promised Meg I would watch Severance, so that's on my.
I know it's on our list too.
It's on my list of stuff to watch. But I've got a couple other shows that we're watching. I got Amazing Race, Survivor.
I'm just really happy you finally watched. And I can finally talk to somebody about it.
Yeah, it was really terrific. So,
okay. So
the trailer for The Last of Us.
Yeah.
Like, I have never played the game, but I'm like, I am so in on this show. It's ridiculous. Like, I'm like, we are eating really good in December and January, like this year. It's it's just crazy how good we're gonna be. Actually, even more so than that. You know, like, we are eating really good for the next few months
through March.
Yeah, because we've got a lot of really great stuff coming. But this looked ridiculous. I love the shots in the snow. You know, them walking in the snow together. I love the I guess banter or the relationship between Joel and
Ellie.
Yeah, I it's hard not to, you know, because when I first was watching it, I closed my eyes and I was like, gosh, I'm hearing The Mandalorian, but I'm not, you know. So it's a little weird.
Gruffier,
yeah, it was a little weird there, but yeah, it looks terrific. And I don't know what it looks like as far as like how it compares to the game.
I mean,
I'll have to let you fill in there.
It looks like the game.
Yeah.
And so the guy who did Chernobyl, and
terrific
I don't know
series,
if
by the way,
literally ever heard anybody say anything negative about Chernobyl.
Yeah, it was terrific.
It was one of the best things to come out in recent memory.
Yeah.
The guy who did that show and then the guy who created The Last of Us are the ones doing this show. And so that gives me so much confidence just having those two brains. You got the creator of the franchise, of the content, I guess. I don't know. And then a very proven showrunner.
Yeah.
Can't get better. And then you watch this trailer and you're like, Oh, I remember that from the game. Oh, I remember that from the game. Oh, I remember that. Shit, they're doing the game. They're adapting this game, and that when everybody, and if you get to play this game before this show comes out, either way, we're gonna win on this podcast because we'll get you to feel what we feel,
Yeah.
or we get your like total fresh perspective about the show
Yeah.
from an outsider's view, which we also probably get from Meg too, but I don't see Meg ever playing the game. But it'll be good to have both sides. Either way, we're eating good. This trailer, let us know what you thought. If you've played the game, let us know what you thought. If you have not played the game, let us know what you think.
Yeah.
I mean, we are really eating good because the next trailer we got was the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 trailer. And
been my favorite. If I had put this list together, Jones and I probably would have Last of Us right where it's at, but I would have put the Guardians of the Galaxy up top because holy smokes, amazing. Like just looks terrific. Gosh, I cannot.
What's your favorite part?
I just think the whole bit with Drax where they land, it looks like on an Earth what you think is an Earth and it's not. It's like it's either
like,
the best Halloween costumes
please.
I've ever seen, or and they have the dodgeball where he just like pegs this little girl with the dodgeball.
She's like kind of adorable too.
Yeah, she's super adorable, and I was like, but Bautista just doing the Drax thing.
I know, he's
just
so good.
It's like, oh my gosh, it's so good. But
did you watch the holiday special?
I haven't watched it yet.
That's pretty good too.
Yeah,
that's a lot of Drax and Mantis, which they are.
Yeah, and I have heard on the side that Mantis steals the show. That's what I've heard. Yeah. So, which is great because I think she's absolutely adorable, and she's
great.
Yeah,
it's the Drax and Mantis show for that.
Yeah. So honestly, the trailer looked terrific. I mean,
who's dying?
I think it's Peter Quill. I've said that before. I really do think Peter Quill. But after watching the trailer, now I'm rethinking that because they blatantly put Peter Quill being carried by
by Nebula.
By Nebula.
His dead body.
Dead body coming out of there. And I'm like, well, they're not going to put that in the trailer if that's really who dies, So like,
can you imagine though?
I was like
they'll never believe it.
Yeah, exactly. Like they literally put the one guy that gets killed in there right out of
it. And you could tell somebody else is dying because there's a very audible scream from him later on. I mean,
that was a very painful, like just in that just the emotion that you could see on Chris Pratt's face in that scene. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Chris Pratt is like acting like that. He's like acting. The reason why I go back and I think that it's not Quill because they put him in that situation, or maybe it's a fake out. Maybe that's not a scene where he dies, like a Star Trek
later on,
like a Star Trek 2, where everybody was like, "Oh, Spock dies," and so the very beginning of the movie, they actually kill Spock, and then it turns out it's just a simulation, and he comes back to life, and so everybody's like, "Oh, that's what they did." But then later on in the movie, it's totally different. But so maybe they're doing that. The only reason why I don't think is if you watch Rocket as they're walking, like. Nebula's carrying Peter's body, he's laying out there, and Rocket is sipping on. He's got a straw and he's drinking something. So I'm like, I don't think Rocket would think that was like a situation.
Good time to have a milkshake.
Whatever. So
Speaking of Rocket, he gets a girl. He gets his girlfriend in this, and it's an otter. Oh, really? My favorite animal. My favorite animal is an otter, and her name's Lila.
Okay,
she's from the comics. Yeah. And she was actually a listed known associate in Rocket's bio in the first Guardians of the Galaxy. They were going through their when they were getting arrested.
Okay.
And Will does the thing. So Lila's been teased. We're gonna get a very, I would say a very detailed, but I don't know that for sure. But it does seem like we're gonna get to see how Rocket was made.
Oh, okay.
The High Evolutionary, played by I don't know if I could say his name if I read it, but the guy who was in Peacemaker, the guy who was he was like the captain of the Peacemaker team,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
and he was a
What's his
butterfly.
name?
Was it?
Chukwudi Iwuji?
Yeah, ooh, yeah, the guy
Chukwudi
that was in Peacemaker.
Iwuji.
Yeah,
I think is
it's
how
a
you
tough
say it.
name.
Yeah, Clemson.
Anyway,
He played Clemson. Is who you're talking about? Clemson. The dude with the short hair.
yeah,
Yeah.
and he was a butterfly.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anyway, he plays the high evolutionary, who's the guy who's created Rocket, and he's a huge character in the comics, big time cosmic character. Cannot wait to see him and what he has to do. But also, Adam Warlock is making his debut. You saw Will Poulter in this trailer. 2 quick flashes of him.
Yeah.
Um, cannot wait to see Adam Warlock, because Adam Warlock is like a top 5 powerful character. Like he's got this in the comics. He's got the Soul Stone in his forehead, and he actually had the Infinity Gauntlet at one point with all the Infinity Stones. He's like Marvel Jesus. He's a very powerful character.
That's interesting.
So
He
I'm
doesn't show up on the IMDb as
Will Poulter.
no, the other dude.
High Evolutionary.
Yeah.
His name Herbert Wyndham. Herbert Wyndham, I think, is his name.
No, I'm
He
thinking
becomes
about
a
somebody
high
different.
evolutionary.
Then. I'll have to look and see, but yeah.
Yeah, I'll look it up too. Anyway,
I will
another reason I
plug
wanted
on my
more Gotham
break.
tonight.
On my break, I did take the family to Disney. We did go to Epcot. We did ride the Guardians of the Galaxy ride, and I have to tell you that I agree with our fellow podcaster Bill Poor that it is probably the greatest ride I've ever been on. Like, just overall experience from beginning to end. For sure, at Disney, it's definitely my favorite ride. I will tell you that the Avatar ride at the Avatar Navi Journey, I think is what it's called, or something like that. But it's Forbidden Flight or something like that. Anyhow, that ride is freaking spectacular, and if you are going there, go ride that. But for sure, figure out a way, do the virtual queue thing, do whatever you have to do to ride Guardians of the Galaxy. You're gonna love it. It is amazing, and it's if you like Space Mountain, it's like Space Mountain 2.0. And I did get a sneak peek at Tron. They've been running the Tron ride. They've been running tests on it all the time, and holy smokes, those
I've heard good early, like, good reviews.
Those bikes look ridiculously cool, especially at night. You're riding one of those light cycles, and it looks freaking amazing. So
yeah, that's a ride I could get on.
Yeah, no upside down there for you, buddy.
Chukwudi Iwuji is who were you thinking was?
That's who I thought you were talking about, right?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Oh, I do see him now in the on. That's weird. Okay, because I looked at his actual credits. If you look at his credits as an actor, it does not show up there. But if you go to the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, it does show up there. So
that's so weird.
Yeah, that is strange. So,
maybe because it's not 2023 yet.
I do love Will Poulter. He is great.
Yeah. I can't wait to see him as I know his We're the Miller character is
We're the
so
Miller
funny.
Is so great. He was really good in that Maze Runner.
Rapping TLC is the.
Oh my gosh, so funny.
So we'll move on. Guardians of the Galaxy got our first look. One reason I wanted Morgan was to talk a little MCU right now, since he's seen Black Panther, and we have now completed Marvel Phase 4. There was a rumor that came out this past week too that said Marvel Studios is rethinking their slate for Phase 5 and 6, and thinking about going back to just quality over quantity.
Please.
So what could that mean for a lot of the stuff we've covered on the show? But I think it's too late to change. However, Phase 4 definitely the worst phase of Marvel by far.
For sure.
We'll dig into that when we bring the presents back next year, because it's worth talking about. So,
well, hopefully they can salvage. They've got a couple of good properties coming up this year that will hopefully right the ship and buy them some time to figure out the other stuff in the Guardians and Ant-Man. So
I mean, everything we've seen from it looks great, but I mean, Black Panther Wakanda Forever had one of the greatest trailers I've ever seen. So
yeah,
you never know. It's something we'll have to cover.
well, there's no
before we get to Ant-Man for sure.
There's no substitute for a good story. And if you don't have a good story, and you don't, I don't know. I haven't heard anybody come out of Black Panther Wakanda Forever and be like, not like the buzz that came out of the first one, and for them, it's hard, with Chadwick passing away when he did. It's just hard, and it's hard to do a rewrite. It's hard to do a recast.
Everything over the last couple of years that Marvel's done has been done through COVID's going on.
Yeah.
These big things definitely affected Phase 4.
Yeah.
There is a lot of wiggle room I will give them for that stuff. They've earned enough credit for me to continue to want to see more Marvel. But man, if it doesn't improve, it's going to be bad for them.
Yeah.
So
yeah, because people are not going to pay, and they're not, as much as these budgets are for these different movies, people are not going to continue to show up if you keep putting out a bomb after a bomb. Granted, people do show up for the Fast and the Furious movies all the time, and they don't seem to have any problem forking over money for bad movie after bad movie. But
or segue to the next trailer.
Yeah.
Transformers 7.
Right.
Which is something, after 2 and 3, I thought I'd never say. And then 4 and 5 came out, and I was like,
yeah,
there's no way they'll make more of these. And now we're on Transformers 7, Rise of the Beasts. What did you think?
So I've tempered my expectations when it comes to the Transformers franchise. That's really what it comes down to. I watched it and I was like, yeah, all right. I think it's, I like seeing the old school, the return of the old school Optimus. I like the return I like the return of the old school Bumblebee, going back to the Camaro from before. This trailer didn't bother me. Like I watched it and I was like, and Jackson was like, "Oh my gosh, this is amazing," and I'm like, "God, I love you, son." So like he's like super excited. We watched it like 5 times. He's cannot wait, to see this thing. So I think it's gonna be terrific. Like for him and I to go watch this movie together. Like, I wouldn't say that they've jumped the shark or they're so terrible, but they just. What you're getting into. You're getting into a Transformers movie, and they stopped being good after 3, I think. Like the second one was really bad. First one was was fun. Yeah, the second one was terrible. The third one I thought did a pretty decent job of salvaging, I
loved the third one.
Yeah, I thought the third one was really, really good.
I loved the last 2 hours of the third one.
Yeah.
There was a lot of unnecessary shit in that first hour. The third one,
it really was. I think the 4th and 5th.
I don't know how it got worse.
I don't know. Like it just.
I would watch the second one any day over those.
Yeah,
that's how bad that was.
Yeah, and it's funny because
Anthony Hopkins. What we did he file for bankruptcy and
did he just needed the money badly, I guess, or something. So. I don't know, and it's not that I don't like Mark Wahlberg, I can't.
He's
really,
the best part of those.
Yeah, I can't really fault anything. Like I can't tell you what's wrong with those movies. Like I really can't. Like there's a lot wrong with them, but I can't like put my finger on
writing.
It's
terrible story. They didn't tell a good story.
Yeah.
You just said, right?
Yeah. They didn't really, and it's just like it's cash grab. Both those are cash grabs, especially the one where they go to China, because the Chinese one that one was a blatant ploy to just get the international money from them. So that was what that was all about. But
I don't know. I mean, that last night, right? Isn't that what it's called? Or is that
the last night, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that one. That one sucked.
I
don't know which one was worse. Actually, now that you think,
there's pieces of those that I
well, just
the
like the
last
second one
night
has
the
good
last night one
bones.
was not good, but like the one where I think it's the one where it goes to China where they're being hunted, by that one bad dude, and they
with the gun out of his face.
Yeah, that was
it was good bones for that.
There was like, and I don't know where, like you said, the writing was bad. I don't know. There was good elements to that movie, and it just didn't come together.
Yeah,
it just didn't come together. And
Mark Wahlberg was definitely the best part about those two.
Yeah, and so for me, like at this point, I'm like, well, I know what I'm getting, and I'm okay with it. Like I don't think that they're trying to be anything more than what they are, and I think at this point we're like, okay. And in that case, it's very much Fast and Furious. Like they've got a formula for what they're going to be, and their fans love it, and they're going to keep pumping out movies that are for their fans. They're not going to, which I think is what's hurt Marvel lately, is that I don't know who they're making these movies for, because it's not their fans. It's like something else. I don't know.
That deserves we'll get into Marvel Studios when we bring Presents back next year, because it definitely needs to be talked about what happened in Phase 4.
Yeah,
there was so much optimism at the beginning of Phase 4. WandaVision, Loki, Falcon Winter Soldier,
and it was all decent. Like I guess that's the small screen stuff was decent, if not really. Loki was terrific.
Falcon Winter Soldier, terrific.
I liked WandaVision. I really did. I wouldn't say it was terrific.
WandaVision was like a worldwide event.
Yeah.
And the finale was so bad it took the steam away from it.
Yeah. But up to that point, it was really good. It was really, really good. And then, like I said, Falcon Winter Soldier was really terrific. Loki was terrific. So there was some bright spots there, and it was all small screen related. I actually loved the Hawkeye show. I thought it was great. I really did. I know there were a lot of people who were like kind of, because it wasn't anything.
It was nothing huge.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was very neighborhood Spider-Man type thing.
A great little comic story that you would get in the comics. Like that's what these shows
should be.
Felt like.
Yeah.
And should be, and felt like some of them this year have kind of gotten away from that.
Yeah.
Again, wanting Morgan because he's got really, really good opinions on video games, and the all-time video game character, Mr. Mario. It has a new movie coming out. We got the full official first official full trailer. That sounds like a mouthful.
Yeah.
The Super Mario Brothers first official trailer, but second look we've got now.
Right. We got a teaser originally, and now this is the first full trailer.
We got more of Chris Pratt voice. We got more of that. I wouldn't say maybe I know exactly what the story is of this movie, but
a
little more story beats.
Yep.
Got to see the raccoon suit, which I'm really excited about.
Yeah. And Mario Kart.
Mario Kart. So they're like, here's your Super Mario brother.
Yeah, they're hitting all of them.
We don't need a sequel after this. Like, what do you think of the big Mario brother trip?
I loved it. I really did. Chris Pratt's voice doesn't bother me one bit.
It's like a New York.
It looks beautiful. Like just all the different colors.
It looks like a video game.
It does look like a video game. It just is beautiful with all the different colors. I loved the sound effects. I loved I thought there was a couple really funny scenes in there, where it's like we're adorable. It's like, oh my gosh. So
Yep.
yeah, and like Amelia and Jackson, we all watched that together, and we were like, "Oh man, this looks really, really great." The kids loved it. So, I don't really have any critiques here because I this one I think is going to be like we'll be there to see this one right away. I think it looks really,
People are
really
just hating to
terrific.
hate.
You know what? They can pound sand or whatever. I don't care. It just
Yeah.
is, it looks good. It's going to be fun.
What do you want out of this movie?
Yeah, what are you looking
seriously.
for? Yeah, what are you looking for? I mean,
Because it's got everything Mario
Yeah,
related.
yeah. I mean, we're not blazing new
Donkey
ground
Kong.
here. Yeah, we're not blazing new ground. I thought that Donkey Kong scene was hilarious.
Hilarious.
Yeah. I mean, we're not like you're not going to learn anything about yourself watching this movie. Like there's no deep introspective stuff that we're talking about. It's a Super Mario Brothers movie.
Yeah.
Like
It's not like when the first Transformers came out and people were like, hey, Michael Bay raped my childhood because
Right, come
they
on.
put flames on Optimus.
Yeah.
It's like
Give me
it's
a
like
break.
that.
Yeah.
Ugh.
That
Come on,
that scene
nerds.
that scene where Optimus shows up is
Dude,
freaking
it's so
amazing. Like
sick.
I don't care who you are. Like if you've got a
So
problem with
sick.
that, we need to have a conversation about your priorities in life because
Seriously.
that scene was badass.
Dope. It was
Yeah.
dope.
Yeah. The music, holy smokes.
Speaking of dope, and sick and
Yes.
awesome.
Yeah, baby.
I've got a big man crush on John Krasinski. I don't think that's too much of a secret.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that man crush I have on John Krasinski is not blinding me to this show or trailer.
Yeah.
This looked freaking phenomenal. I cannot wait till December 21st for Jack Ryan season 3 to release on Amazon Prime.
Yes.
Eric, what do you think of that trailer?
Amazing. I feel the same way as you do. I hope that
I'm so excited.
I hope that yeah, it looks really, really great. I think I'm glad Wendell Pierce is back as Greer. I love him as James Greer. I do like that Michael Kelly guy. I think he's pretty terrific.
So good.
Yeah.
In the roles that he's supposed to have.
Yeah, exactly. He's always really, really good. We'll see how the rest of the cast kind of.
That's Doug Stamper. If people are wondering who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yep. Doug Stamper from House of Cards. He's on Jack Ryan as a different character.
So,
but his actor's name is Michael Kelly.
It just is. I'm just excited for this. I don't know how else to put it. The action scenes look good.
I was gonna say the action looks phenomenal.
Yeah.
I love the suspense that the trailer shows in this. It just feels like a panic attack every episode, and that's what you want from like a spy thriller.
And we talk about special effects, like practical special effects.
Yes.
Like I have not seen a CGI scene in this at all that
it looks amazing.
That I'm like, oh man, that's terrible. Like I've every one of them has been a practical special effect that I've been like, okay, that's cool. Like that, or that's spectacular. Like I don't need a CGI leap from this building to that building. Like you don't have to do those things to make it look amazing.
Tom Cruise will break his ankle.
Yeah.
So that you don't have to do
You don't
that,
have
okay?
to do that. You don't have to do those things. People love that stuff, look at every James Bond movie of all, like basically all time, practical effects, and they're just amazing. So Krasinski looks great. They've definitely even in the trailer, it's like it's there's a ton of tension and there's a ton of like suspense just in the trailer by itself because of apparently Jack's on the run. I mean, they start you out right away. Jack Ryan is a wanted fugitive. And it's like holy smokes, like what? Why are you after Jack? I mean, he's just an analyst.
But I mean, and they even say "Run, Jack, run."
Yeah,
that's like a title card on.
Yeah.
Anyhow,
I think this would be great.
He's in control, which is what I love to see of Jack Ryan. Is like he, no matter what situation he's in, he's thinking ahead. He's gonna get himself out of this. It definitely needs some help, but man, I love the sense of like just dominion he had over. And again, it could be my man crush on John Krasinski coming, blinding me a little bit, but felt Felt very Jack Ryan in this one. I'm very excited.
I think they've done a terrific job of modernizing and bringing a character from the 80s into this time period and making him, you know, what they've. I thought they've done a terrific job as a Tom Clancy fan, as a Jack Ryan, as a reader of the original Jack Ryan books. I love this reimagining of Jack in this time period. You know, I really do. So I
absolutely.
I think it's been really terrific.
Because in this day and age, you kind of have to punch people.
You do
to keep people entertained.
You really do.
I watched this next trailer, but I have not seen season 3 of The Boys, so I don't know if this ruins anything for me, and I know I need to get on that, so I will. But Gen V, that's the name of the show, the Boys spinoff. Gen V, like Generation V.
Yeah.
As someone who hasn't seen season 3 but has seen the first 2 seasons of Boys and liked it, this trailer did nothing for me. So I don't know if I haven't seen season 3, but I don't know. What do you think?
I haven't watched any of The Boys, so I don't have any frame of reference. So
you just need a sign on your forehead, because I literally forget that every single time.
I mean, put it up on the wall behind me if you'd like. I can put.
I have not seen
my has not watched list. So I haven't watched any of The Boys stuff, so I have no frame of reference. I have no.
I can't believe I forget about that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we can move on. Nothing. It honestly, it did nothing for me. I know Meg's a big time The Boys nerd.
Yeah.
Sounds funny.
But she is.
Let us know what you thought of the trailer, Meg. All right. So that covers all the big stuff that came out of the CCXP Brazil ComicCon. Very exciting stuff in there.
Lots of stuff.
Some of us a little more excited than others on certain things. So let us know what you think. Next on the rundown, James Gunn, the new head of DC Studios, co-head of DC Studios, announced this past week that the plan for DC is to have the interconnected movie universe. However, he added to that
TV and movie. Yep.
He added to that that it will also have an expanded universe through TV, animation, and video games. And again, or wish you were on here because I want to know what you thought about that.
Yeah.
Because I have feelings about that that I'll get to. But is this what you want out of DC Studios, Eric?
I would like a cohesive vision, and I think we're getting that. You know, like that. Like it starts with having a vision and having a strategy that you can execute on. That, you know, whether it's movies, whether it's TV shows, across all formats, that's fine. You can be aggressive like that if you want to, as long as you're delivering quality products. That's really what it comes down to, and what your fans are looking for. So James and Peter both seem to have the strategy down, you know, like, so number one thing for me is have a strategy, you know. Number two is execute on that strategy. And if that means you're going to be cross platforms or cross, you know, content providers and stuff like that, then I'm okay with that too. But you gotta deliver on what your fans want, you know. And so they've got a couple of winning products already out there, you know. The Shazam stuff, I think they can build off of. I'm hoping that they'll be able to build off of that. The Robert Pattinson Batman is pretty good, so we'll see where that's going to go, you know, whether that stays as an individual property or whether or not that gets funneled into overall, or whether they're going to bring back Batfleck. I don't know what's going to happen there, but you know, in the Aquaman stuff. So we'll see, you know, the Flash. It feels like, at least to me, you may want to just start over after Flash, maybe just kind of I wouldn't
Or
say
Aquaman.
abandon everything. Leave the Pattinson Batman stuff to where it is, but just reboot everything else where in the place it is, and just give yourself a clean slate. But I don't know. We'll see what happens. So those dudes are
I
a lot
agree.
smarter than I am, because if you don't, you're gonna end up with a lot of baggage. Like, you don't have to necessarily have to recast, but you could just be like, hey, we're just kind of starting over, and because Gal Gadot, perfectly good as that's right, Mick. As Wonder Woman, she's terrific. I
could see somebody else in there.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know. We'll see. I just don't see how you could recast one or two people and not the whole cast. Like, if you know what I mean.
No,
So,
I mean, I agree. I agree. Recast the whole Justice League.
Yeah, and I don't feel that you need to, because I think
they're going to expand the Robert Pattinson universe.
The what?
The
How do you say his last name?
Robert Pattinson.
Pattinson with a P.
It is Pattinson. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Robert Pattinson.
Pattinson with a P.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Enunciate the P. It's like
Robert
it totally comes across
Bat.
as Pattinson.
Yes.
I'm not gonna fall into this trap of yours. Just say it.
Anyway, so the Robert Pattinson universe is being expanded.
Crazy.
Is being expanded.
I know what you're doing, and I don't like it.
I like for that to be separate.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, and then you can just and who cares if there's another Batman?
Yeah.
We've got 17 of them. So what's one more? However, here's where I am like a little hesitant about this announcement is on the video game side. This might be like a little video game snobby of me, I guess, maybe. But when I look at the template, which is Marvel Studios, film, now TV, and animation is part of their universe.
Yeah.
They have not integrated that universe with the video games.
Yeah.
And the video games that have come out from Marvel, Spider-Man PS4, Midnight Suns is doing really well. Avengers didn't do as well, but that was also it's probably made it tenfold because so many people bought it. But for the most part, they've not integrated into the MCU, and it's worked out for them.
Yeah.
Video games are just it's a different world. It's so much. You can expand an entire universe within the video game universe. So that makes me nervous. Because also what I'd hate to see is if, like, let's say they, just for example's sake, let's say they bring back Batfleck, and they can't get him to do the voice for the video game. That takes me out, and it ruins even it's not even worth it to have it in the universe if you can't have the same actor. So there's a lot of it's asking a lot to also have the video game universe in there. So I'm a little nervous about that. Or just for video games, though. I don't think that it would ruin James Gunn's vision for what he wants for this universe. So
yeah,
excited to see what his vision for this universe is. A little worried about the video game side. So you, Eric, are you a fan of 80s action stars? 80s action movies.
I am, and I am a huge fan of both this movie and the ridiculously bad sequel that it had.
I know you like it. I don't know why, but who doesn't like a little Snake Plissken in their life?
That's right.
Yeah. Almost. It's like, is it Solid Snake? No, that's the video game.
No.
Snake Plissken, Kurt Russell, Escape from New York, one of the all-time classic 80s movies. Just an incredible idea for a movie. Like, let's make Manhattan a prison. Let's crash Air Force One. Let's make one of the prisoners go rescue the president to mute his sentence.
Yep.
Wow, what a great idea. So now it's come out that they are either going to have the names are coming up with are insane. A requel, which is a reboot and a sequel,
Mm,
which I don't get what that means.
yeah.
Well, I guess that's kind of like a, you know, what they've been doing with like Ghostbusters Afterlife, where they have some of the old stuff and they have some of the new stuff and they combine them. I mean, that's been done out the ass lately. So like Star
Right.
Wars and stuff. So Star Trek, no, yeah, Star Trek.
Yeah.
So what do you think about this news about a possible either sequel, straight sequel, or possible reboot, or a possible requel?
Uh, I don't know, man. Like, I wouldn't mind seeing. Kurt Russell's so great as
Yeah.
Snake in both movies. Like he's so great in
Kurt Russell is great.
yeah. Period. End of sentence.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but I would like to see more stories from like that character because he is a badass character, and I would like to kind of see more. But the charm and the charisma of Kurt Russell, especially with that eye patch and
Yes.
the permanent
The hair.
2-day shave. Like I don't know how you managed to do that, but he's got the hair
Yeah.
and like the permanent 2-day haven't shaved in 2-3 days, and no matter what, it's
Man
terrific.
stubble.
Yeah, man stubble. I don't know how he manages it, but it's perfect. Yeah,
That's awesome.
I don't know how if Kurt Russell's attached to it somehow, if they are doing it somehow where they pull him in,
Requel.
yeah, I'm okay with it. If it's done without him, then I'll have to wait and see what that looks like. But
I think that's
it's
the majority feel.
yeah, I think it's it's fun, like especially the Escape from LA. It was just terribly fun. Like it just like maybe like I loved it. That's just the
It always
pure
amazes me that was John Carpenter.
yeah.
Like I always forget that it's John Carpenter.
Yeah. Yep.
And
He's got a crazy imagination, man. The dude has got a crazy imagination. So
the sequel just went wrong by timing. Like they should have made a sequel back in the 80s.
yeah. It was by then it was too late. And I think that's when like special effects were the CGI special effects.
They were moving into like the big 90s.
Yeah,
action.
and that's when it was first kind of starting, and they went way overboard. It's just the whole tsunami scene. And
but you like it though.
I do. It's and that's an idea for a presents show is a B movie. B movie.
You want to do that?
Yeah.
You consider these B movies?
Oh, Escape from LA is a total B movie. Like not from a budget perspective. Just it turned out to just be a terrible movie that I love. And so,
it had to be an F movie in that regard.
But yeah.
Kurt Russell. And from the Kurt Russell in the 80s, one day we'll put together our best 80s action heroes, and he's going to be on that list. You got, Big Trouble in Little China, one of the all-time classics. Just
Jack Burton.
Talk about like one of the all-time great characters. Yep. Man, Jack Burton.
I told you I went and saw that. I think I've said it before, but I went and saw it on the big screen again when I was down in Dallas one time. It was on I think it was at like the Alamo or something like that. They were doing a late night screening of it, and I went and watched it. It was just terrific. So,
it's so good. My sister-in-law loves it. So very, very excited to see where they go with this. And then we'll either hype up my expectations or temper my expectations.
Yeah.
Speaking of tempering my expectations, we have a new frontrunner for the next James Bond. So it's come out in the last week that there's a new frontrunner, but there's been talks a lot lately, and we haven't covered it on the rundown because I'd like some more concrete evidence that some of these names that they throw out there are people they're actually looking at. And this report actually is pretty heavily verified by a couple insiders. Aaron Taylor Johnson is the new frontrunner for James Bond. And Barbara Broccoli was in an interview a couple months ago and came out and was like, "Look, we want a younger male. It's probably going to be the youngest Bond that you see in their first movie, in their next movie." And so they just kept throwing out, all Tom Holland, Taron Egerton, all these British guys' names. Not once did they think about this other British actor in Aaron Taylor Johnson, who we know from the movies Kick-Ass 1 and 2. He was Quicksilver in Age of Ultron, Avengers Age of Ultron, and recently played a set of twins in Bullet Train, and he's currently back with Marvel in not a Marvel Studios role, but in a Marvel Sony role, filming Kraven the Hunter, pretty big Spidey character.
Yeah.
So the guy's got some cred to his name. He won't be a total unknown. I don't want to say Daniel Craig was an unknown, but he wasn't the big star he was when he got the Bond role. And if you compare resumes, I would say that Aaron Taylor Johnson has a more concrete resume than Daniel Craig had when he took over the role.
Yeah.
And Aaron Taylor Johnson, big dude, big dude, and got real big for Kraven. So I'm certain if he is the front runner, we have at least the mold for what we might be seeing out of the new James Bond, which is going to be a younger Bond, probably more along the Daniel Craig action mold as well. I don't know, what do you think about this news?
I don't know. I don't know how I see him in that role, because I know this sounds kind of ridiculous, but like
I love when you say that.
James Bond is always a clean shaven guy, and I feel like
that's a baby face.
Yeah, Aaron is like always in to butch up his characters. He always wears facial hair to make himself look a little bit older. So I don't know.
Except for an Age of Ultron.
Yeah, but he was a kid there. Like, he was supposed to be a kid in that. Him and
good point.
And, so I don't know. Like,
that's a good point.
We'll see. I don't mind. I don't mind an unknown actor coming out and playing James Bond, because I don't. All right. So I'll rewind just a little bit. This news excites me that I'm going to get more 007 stuff. Like, I'm excited about that. I'm excited that we're not killing off or we're going to reboot the character in some way, shape, or form. They're going to make him a little bit different than what he was, because, the character doesn't necessarily fit the modern take anymore, I guess, or whatever, which I think is baloney. But, but at the end of the day, I'm excited that we're going to continue to get more 007. I'm excited that we're going to get more James Bond, if that's what they're going to call him, if it's going to be James Bond or if there's just going to be 007. I don't know, how they're going to do it. If they have him be 007 but not be James Bond to get away from the baggage that's there, I think that would be interesting. So so we'll see how they proceed there. So I don't know. Like, in the stories, is they're saying it James Bond producers, but when you kind of read through the article, do they refer to him? They always kind of refer to him as the next 007, not necessarily the next James Bond. So so we'll see where they're gonna.
It's the new 007, Jim Wand.
Right. Yeah. Right. Something like that. So yeah, we'll see.
New character.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Like, I wouldn't be upset if he was the next James Bond, because he's got good acting chops and stuff like that. I just wouldn't be upset if you picked somebody who is not like a big, because like you said with Daniel Craig, he was kind of a relatively unknown guy, and he was able to kind of come in and make the role, because he wasn't competing with James Bond. Like
Right.
the James Bond name was already there, and nobody really had seen him in anything that really. I think
Well, and
Munich. I
they
think
also
he
like
had come out with
rebooted the
Munich.
character with,
Right. Yeah.
it was a different kind of James Bond.
Right.
It,
It was
that really helped him.
more darker, brooding.
Action heavy.
Yeah, and they moved away from the gadgety
Yeah.
Pierce Brosnan stuff, where it was all the kind of gadgets and the goofball stuff, campiness. And so we'll see. Hopefully they go in the kind of the same direction. Cause again, I like that more practical stuff. So I wouldn't be upset.
Sick if they got Martin Campbell to direct it too. He directed GoldenEye when they rebooted Bond with Brosnan, and then he directed Casino Royale.
Casino Royale, yep. So
interesting.
And GoldenEye was terrific. Like just
Skyfall is my favorite, followed closely by GoldenEye.
Yeah.
And then followed closely by Casino Royale.
Yeah. There's a lot of really great ones. I love
and I don't.
One of my favorites is The Living Daylights, and with Timothy Dalton. I think it's just a terrific.
He's such an underrated Bond. It's crazy.
He only got to do 2, and I think that's the real heartbreak of that whole thing, is that he only got to do 2 James Bond movies, and one of them was not well written. And you had, Wayne Newton as your bad guy. That's how you know it's. Miscast, I guess we'll just say it's miscast. So
I'm reminded whenever I'm reminded of that, it's just I cannot laugh.
Yeah,
or
like,
can't
come on.
not laugh.
Yeah.
We'll move on back to Marvel. Now we'll cover this as a group.
Yeah.
Too big of news, and it's not just MCU stuff, but 3-parter here, real quick. Eric, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Trailer's going to be next week, 12/13. It will premiere. Cool little Miles Morales and Spider-Gwen photo released along with it. They're sitting upside down. Kind of a cute picture. So not much to cover there, as it's an announcement for a trailer. It's just funny that that's the world we live in now. It kind of makes me happy.
We rode the Spider-Man ride at Universal while we were on vacation, and the gift shop had a ton of Spider-Gwen and Miles Morales stuff in it. It was really cool. So a lot of really neat stuff in there.
Joey is starting to get into Spider-Man very heavily from Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends.
Yeah.
TV show. Oh my God, she loves that. Spider-Man. The next set of news is Daredevil Born Again. So inside the MCU on this one, casts Michael Gandolfini, James Gandolfini's son, who just made his acting debut in Saints of Newark, which was the Sopranos sequel movie, or prequel movie. Yeah, prequel movie, because it's he plays a young Tony Soprano. What does that mean? Like what? And he's in a prominent role. I wonder if he's going to be related to Fisk somehow. And then we reported back a few weeks ago, maybe a couple of months ago, Blade lost its director. And now they've finally gotten their new man in Jan Demange, who he was the main director on Lovecraft Country, which didn't do well, but it was critically acclaimed. Also starred Jonathan Majors in that. So, what do you think about?
Who is also in Devotion right now? If you haven't seen it, go see it.
Oh, is it good?
I haven't watched it yet. I'm going to go see it this weekend. I'm hoping to go see it this week. But it looks terrific. Glenn Powell and Jonathan Majors.
I want to see more Glenn Powell.
Yeah. And the fact that it's a Korean War movie,
yes,
Medal of Honor, just a tremendous story. So but I think the best news out of this 3 stuff here is I don't have any comment on Gandolfini. That doesn't mean anything to me. I appreciate his dad's work, but I don't know anything about him, and it sounds like he's just going off the name right now. But the Spider-Verse stuff, looking forward to it. We'll see. Jack loves that Spider-Verse stuff. I think the director stuff is great. I think if Jan Demange is gonna do it, that sounds fine. I don't know anything about him or her. I don't know one way or the other. I don't even know who that person is, so I got no idea.
Yeah.
But the thing about the article that struck me was that Mahershala Ali is still sticking with it. So that's the most positive thing I can take away from that whole thing is Mahershala Ali still
I bet he had
in
to
it.
sign off on it. I
Yeah.
bet he was a part of that process, finding that person.
So they need to get cranking on that and get that out so that guy can start doing some other stuff. So
so I can see Mahershala
Ali, because that dude's a phenomenal talent.
As Blade, I just want to see that. That's just give me that.
It's gonna be awesome
already. Yep, I agree. I think that's the most eye-popping news out of that. It's okay. This is still happening, and they got
and it's like buried at the bottom of the article. Oh yeah, Mahershala is still sticking to it. Like
yeah, right.
Probably should have led with that. Just lead with that. And...
I will take any Daredevil born again news for the rest of time because it just makes me so happy that we're getting it. And it, for theory crafters like myself, there's so many characters he could be, or it could be a new character for it. But he got really high acclaim for his role in the Saints of Newark. So, Marvel's, they like to snatch up that talent when they can. So excited for it, and definitely cannot wait to see the trailer. We'll cover that next week when it premieres. So let's get to the trailer train. I know I was talking to Banana earlier, and she's like, the whole show is basically a trailer train. And I'm like, I get it.
We've interwoven a lot of trailers.
We are trailer nerds here at the Nerd Rundown.
We love them.
We are, everybody's a nerd in their own way, and we nerd out about whatever we want to. And that's what makes us a nerd in our own way. And trailers, oh my gosh. I've been a trailer nerd for as long as I can remember. I'm going to love watching trailers. And it's great to see what trailers are to the world.
So sometimes the trailer's better than the movie.
Yeah, well, and it's been that way for sure this year. We've got a lot of that. Right. So the first one that came out, and being a trailer nerd, Eric, like myself, you see something where you're like, oh yes, I'm gonna watch this trailer, and you watch it and you're like, what the explain this trailer, that 90s show, to me.
Oh,
what?
I don't even know. I liked that 70s show. I really did. And this is just like, they're going to restart the mom and dad as they own the house and they're just renting it out to these kids. I don't know what's happening in this thing.
Exactly.
I don't know what's going on. Explain why
Red and his what's his mom's name?
Yeah, they look exactly the same. They haven't aged.
They look exactly the same.
They haven't aged. Okay, so we're supposed to believe 20-some years have gone by, and neither one of them have aged not one bit, which is kind of true because the dad, Red, has looked the same since the 80s. Like, he looks exactly the same as he did in RoboCop. Like, okay. So I can buy that. I can buy that it looks exactly the same. This looks terrible. We have the group chat that we talk to each other on on our phones and stuff like that. And I intentionally said I'm not going to link to this trailer because it's so bad, but there is a trailer for the 90s show out there if you want to. So I don't want to talk about it unless you've got more. Let's move on to the next one because I really want to talk about the next one.
I think it confirmed my thought process is just like, why is it the 90s?
Yeah.
If it's 20 years later, is it, is this tight? What is this?
What are we doing?
So it was bad. I don't even care anymore. I don't even want to know. I'm just glad that my thought process was confirmed by somebody else.
It bombs. I hope it bombs.
I hope it bombs. And it, by all accounts, looks like it. It came out and it went to the bottom of everybody's trash.
Yep.
Next trailer though that came out.
God bless America. Only in America can you make this movie. It's terrific.
I was like, there's no way this is true. I looked it up. 1985. Tons of cocaine was dropped out of a plane, and a bear ate it. And I can't even imagine I can't even imagine it happening for real.
Yeah.
Like, it's just insane. But this trailer does a good job of showing, I guess, what it would be like if this, what during that period. Bigger cast than I expected,
Right.
as well.
Yeah.
We were talking about B movies earlier. I thought it was for sure going to be a B movie, but
Yeah.
with this cast, really big talent. Eric,
well,
explain
first
to
of
the
all,
audience
it's
what Cocaine
directed by
Bear is.
Elizabeth Banks. Like Elizabeth Banks.
Oh, I didn't even see that.
Yeah, Elizabeth Banks. So so she told the studio ahead of time. She's like, "Look, don't change the name. Like the name has to be Cocaine Bear." And they were like, she's like, "Cause I don't want to come out like White Bear or something like that." Or she's like, it has to be Cocaine Bear. And the studio's like, "Fine, we'll leave it as Cocaine Bear." And I love it because if you actually do read like the real story, it's actually a really crazy story because it's like this former narcotics guy who became like a drug smuggler. Like if you were to make this story like straight up
story?
like straight up legit, this story, it would still be bonkers, because like I guess like the tax, like the guy who did the thing, the chief medical examiner or whatever, said that the bear's stomach was literally packed to the brim with cocaine. Like, and he's like,
it was like, dang, this shit is good.
No mammal. He's like, no mammal alive right now could have survived that much cocaine in its system, And so,
do we know how long it survived for?
Not very long. Like apparently it consumed it, and then like it really only got about 3 or 4 grams of actual coke into its bloodstream before it expired. But God bless them, they are making this into
that's amazing,
the craziest movie you've ever seen in your life. It is loosely based on a true story, loosely based. And there was a bear.
Pull down this little plot thread.
There was a bear that did eat
Yeah.
several keys of cocaine but the rest of it is just pure theater. And God bless Elizabeth Banks for making this movie, because I cannot wait to see this thing. It looks terrific.
Terrible.
It looks
terribly terrific.
Terribly terrific. Yes. It looks like, and I'm not a horror movie person, but this thing looks just like Jaws on Jaws on coke,
on cocaine
on the shore. This bear just looks terrific.
What's funny too is one of the paramedics in the beginning is the IKEA guy.
Oh, really?
The famous TikTok does this video where he's like he pretends to be an IKEA employee. It's one of the like all-time TikToks of all time. And
I don't think I've ever seen it. Okay.
I'm almost certain you probably have.
Okay.
If it's sent to you and you watch it, you'll be like, oh yeah, I'm pretty sure I've seen this. Yeah. If not, watch it. It's pretty fun. Anyway. Cannot wait for that.
I love Ray Liotta.
That is going to be.
I love Kerry Russell. I really do. I think Kerry Russell is just the cutest thing ever.
I love Kerry Russell. Ray Liotta, though, is one of my most underrated actors of all time, and I love everything Ray Liotta is. So when I saw him in this, I am like, yes, I'm in. And then the rest of the trailer happened. I'm like, this is beyond my wildest dreams of how entertaining that will be.
Yes, this is gonna be. This reminds me. I don't know if you remember, but like, it's probably 15 years ago, 10, 15 years ago. There was, I think it was Sci-Fi did it, but there was the Sharknado. Like they did Sharknado's movie, and they were so bad, but I loved like every second of it. It was just.
I didn't get into it, but I know what you're talking about.
Oh my gosh, it just went crazy. Like this kind of feels like that, but like better. Like this feels like a much higher quality movie than the Sharknado. The Sharknado was really, really terrible just from start to finish. But you knew that it was
big time audience though. Like
you knew that it was, and you didn't expect anything different. So this one is terrific because it's like, like the real bear in real life was like 175 pound bear, which is still a bear to be reckoned with. Like if that bear were to come after you, you would not.
Oh my God! You'd be
would
done. You know,
You would not
It-
survive. But
I
they've
think
amped it up to like a 500-pound bear in this movie.
yeah, he's like a grizzly basically.
Yeah.
I probably went in with a little hesitation because we've gotten this like we're getting this like strand of just terrible horror movies in like the Winnie the Pooh one, right?
Oh, sure. Yeah. I have
And then
no
they
interest in
announced
that.
last week, in the last week, they announced they're going to do, because of the success of that, I use air
Yeah.
quotes, audio only people there, that they're going to do Bambi
Mm.
next. And then there was also a trailer released in last week that I didn't put in here and we don't need to talk about because it looks absolutely horrid, is they did it for Grinch too.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm like, that shit's scary already. I don't know. So I went in with a really weird, low expectation, which probably helped,
Yeah.
and got that, and I was loving it.
Yeah.
Last on the trailer train, though, is something that we've covered pretty recently. We've gotten a couple trailers. This is the third trailer that's come out, but I think it's what I needed. Like the second trailer was the first. So the first trailer was good. I was like, man, this visually looks spectacular, but I had no other feelings. The second trailer that came out in early November that we covered was I was like, oh, okay, I can see me seeing this. And then now this trailer was great and really got me pretty hyped up for this. It did come out, the rating that was announced, it will be PG-13. For some of the normal stuff, violence and stuff like that, but then also partial nudity. So, Eric, are we going to see a new version of the Blue Dong in this?
Is not the question I thought you were going to ask me. Maybe we see some blue butt. I think that's pretty much what we'll get, or some blue breasts.
Yeah.
But I think
I think
we're
it would
seeing
be,
a
if it
blue
was
dong.
rated R, we'd be seeing the Blue Dong.
Yeah.
Back.
Yeah, I mean, I really didn't. I know we always talk about we trust in Kevin Feige. I trust in James Cameron. I didn't need this trailer. I think you apparently did, but
If they finalized my feeling.
yeah, I think so. I'm looking forward to seeing this. I'm looking forward to the kids seeing this in the PG-13 stuff. We're probably gonna have to have a discussion about language and stuff like that, like we did during the first one. But other than that, I think it's pretty. It looks pretty great. I'm really excited about it.
It felt more family.
Yep.
You know,
family.
and
It's all about family.
they go back to they go and they find another tribe of blue people. Actually, they're more turquoise.
Yeah.
And it, you know, I hope that it's not just okay. Here's Americans or humans coming to try to take over this land again. Like,
Yeah.
hopefully there'll be more to it. But at minimum, Jimmy Cameron, man, that guy has. You can tell he has put something together that is going to be visually stunning again and going to be entertaining.
The Hollywood, I'll put a link to it in the description, but the Hollywood Reporter had a really great bio thing that they did on Cameron about this movie, and it's really, really terrific. It's a really great read. I think so. He's already got 2 and 3 filmed, and part of 4 is already filmed. So unless this
He's
one
already filmed 3.
He's already filmed. Yeah, 2 and 3 are both done. So 3 is already filmed. They filmed 2 and 3 at the same time, and part of 4 was also filmed at the same time. So he's still got to go back and film a little bit more of 4, and then they need to edit 3 and put that together. But he has stories. He has stories all the way out to 5, and a rough outline all the way out to 7. He said that he could actually do 7 films out of this. He said he would not be the one to do all 7.
Right.
He did say that he would need to train someone to do these films, because no matter how badass of a director you think you are, you don't know how to do this. And that was his.
You're not James Cameron.
You're not James Cameron, but
You're not James Cameron.
but I highly recommend reading the Hollywood Reporter if you're interested in James Cameron, if you're interested in how he does stuff. The Hollywood Reporter has a really good story that they did on him, and it's really, really terrific. So I definitely recommend checking it out.
Well, they said that this could possibly need to be a top 5 grossing movie of all time to make its budget back.
Yeah,
and I'm wondering if that's because they've
there's 2 films.
Yeah, it's 2 films in there, and then even part of a 4th one. So
yeah.
And I think it's going to help Sam Worthington, that he's a blue dude the entire time, and they can help emote him a little more than he does in real life. So
well, and maybe it's because we've all had a break from Sam Worthington, because we all got, it's kind of the same thing with Jai Courtney and some other actors where he's like, you're the it guy in Hollywood, and you're gonna get Sam Worthington.
But Avatar kind of launched him onto that. So when we watched him in Avatar, we were like, oh yeah, I like this guy. And then he was in everything.
And then he was in Terminator, and then he was in was in everything. So yeah.
I thought he was better in Terminator than he was in Avatar.
Yeah, all right. Well, you're entitled to your opinion, but
that's it for the rundown. Really good stuff in the rundown.
Yep.
We want to cap this off, and again, this is another reason why I wanted Morgan here. So Morgan, you got a lot to comment on, as I know you're a big Power Rangers fan. But Power Ranger icon, probably the most famous Power Ranger, the Green Ranger, who ended up being also the White Ranger, and he wore other colors, I believe. But the actor who played him, Jason David Frank, definitely the most notable name out of the Power Ranger franchise, passed away since the last time we've been on air. And there's a huge nerdum for Power Rangers, so it's worth mentioning on here. And the presence this guy had at Comic-Cons was huge. People adored this man, and it's sad to talk about, to end the rundown this way, but he had an impact on a lot of people, and it kind of ties into our sponsor, Combat the Chaos. There's people out there that are struggling, and if you're struggling, reach out to somebody, reach out to us. Like it is, we'll do whatever we can, because suicide is just one of the most tragic things in this world, and I want to do everything I can, as a veteran, as a human, to stop that.
Yeah.
And I know, Eric, you feel the same way.
Oh, so. Absolutely. You're not alone. And, no matter how isolated you may feel, no matter what your emotions are, no matter what you're going through, reach out to somebody, just, don't give up on yourself. Don't give up on your friends, your family, and all, everybody else. Like, let people help you. Reach out to whomever you have to reach out to.
There's people that need you.
There are people that need you.
There's always people that need you.
Yep. And then I think we have we just found out a little right before we went on air tonight.
Another icon.
And just an amazing, like a really funny woman, like a genuinely funny person.
Strong woman.
Yeah. Kirstie Alley passed away from a battle with cancer. And so
they came out, they just found it too.
Yeah. Very, very aggressive. They're not saying what kind, but I just feel, a lot of heartbreak for her family and, and her fans and stuff. She's a Star Trek gal. She was, she was terrific in Star Trek. So,
my favorite's the Look Who's Talking franchise.
Oh, the Look Who's Talking. She was so good in that.
Those movies.
Yep.
Oh, and to stand with John Travolta.
Yeah.
You got to be able to carry the screen. She did.
Yeah. And I have to go back to her, to Cheers. She was just
where it all started.
Yeah. And it's hard to be on a show and try to step into the shoes of someone else who also was just absolutely terrific, and so when Shelley Long left the show, you know, it was like, who's this person coming into the show? And she was terrific right out of the gate, and that's hard to do. You know, it's hard to kind of take over for somebody else on a well established show. And she took it and ran with it, and was just one of the biggest shows in TV, you know, on TV.
TV history.
Yeah, TV history. Cheers was just a terrific show. So sad news coming out of Hollywood from her. So
I became a fan of Cheers. I used to have this like 4-inch screen TV. It was longer than it was. It was like deeper than it was tall. It was just like one of those old school TVs, thick cord to plug in.
Yeah.
And I got CBS, ABC, NBC, and I would go say goodnight to my parents, and I would plug that in, and I'd watch the Tonight Show with Jay Leno. And then after the Tonight Show with Jay Leno, if it wasn't tired, Cheers was on.
Yeah.
And I'd be under my covers with a big old TV on my chest, and nothing would get so hot. I mean, I'd sometimes be sweating from watching Jay Leno. But if I wasn't tired, I'd continue to watch what was on next, which was Cheers. And I remember I was like, oh, this is funny. I mean, I was a kid, so I don't get all the humor, but I remember when they switched to Kirstie Alley, and I was like, oh, that's a girl from Look Who's Talking.
Yeah.
And I stayed up every night watching Cheers once Kirstie Alley was on.
Yeah.
I don't know if I had that connection through Look Who's Talking, but it was for me, it was so much better. But you know, she helped carry that show, or helped that show continue. Because if she failed, you know, it's tough to go from Shelley Long to anybody. And she,
because Shelley Long was so terrific.
Made her own.
Yeah, she really did though. She really did. You know, there was no drop off in, and she took. You know, she did such a great job of not taking any of Ted Danson's crap. You know, in the as Sam. You know, like she just was was hard on him. You know, and she fit right into that ensemble cast. You know, it was just such a great cast from top to bottom. You know, we still love John Ratzenberger, Woody Harrelson, you know, Rhea Perlman, I think was Rhea Perlman, I think was on that. And just some terrific
Frasier.
Yeah, Kelsey Grammer, and then I'm trying to think who played
always funny to think that's it.
I'm trying to think who played Norm.
I know. And John Katzenberger is in all the Pixar movies.
All the Pixar, yeah.
Recently passed as well, but was in every Pixar movie.
Yeah, great voice. Great voice.
I think Norm's real actor's name is Norm, isn't it?
I don't think so. I think it's like George Winston or something like that, or I can't remember. But
but Norm.
Cheers, great show. Let's
move to the Nerd Box, which is a lot happier. I guess, I don't know. We'll see how this goes. But Meg submitted a banger of a Nerd Box question, and I've got a great example of this. So I'm excited to see if you guys will, because this is one of those instances where I feel like everybody's kind of got it.
Yeah.
Meg writes in, are there any movies or shows you accidentally watched with your parents or in-laws that got super weird and made you incredibly uncomfortable? Her answer is, it's happened to her a couple times actually. She can't remember what movies specifically. Yeah, right. I know her steel trap memory.
Yeah. I think she's being polite.
Maybe The Shape of Water was one, which I could see that being an awkward movie, but it's maybe too awkward to be awkward for me. But I can see it feeling a little weird, maybe especially with him. And she goes, and now I check the IMDb rating breakdowns first, which is very smart to do, I guess.
Probably.
So, Eric, you ever found yourself being like, didn't know this was in it?
I have two. Well, I have one that's fairly recent, like really recent, and then I have one that I'll go way back on. So the most recent one is we were watching. My mom sold her house, and so she was staying with us for a little bit, and we'd put the kids to bed, and we were starting to watch the House of the Dragon, and
Okay.
I think it was the episode where they go to like where they basically go into the
Brothel.
and so my mom is sitting there on the end of the couch, and I look over at Stacy, and I was like, I just hit cancel on the thing, and I was like, we'll come back to this at a later time, and
Internet's out.
yeah,
Sorry,
and my
Mom.
mom's like, and I was like, yeah, you know what, we'll find something else to watch. I don't know that this, it's like, all right. So it was really funny, because Stacy looked over at me, like we both looked at each other at the same time, and it was really funny.
It's about to go there.
Yeah, exactly. And then the I'm gonna go way back. So this was my dad. I love you, Dad. You gave me a great childhood. I will tell you that much. A great childhood. So, Dad took me to see Lethal Weapon in the theater. And I think I was 9 or 10 when because I think that movie came out in 85. It's like 85 or 86.
86.
It might have been 86.
Or 84.
No, I know it wasn't 84. I think I gotta look it up. Anyhow,
I got.
All right,
I'll look it up.
All right. So my dad takes me to see it with my grandfather. So it's me and my grandfather and my dad.
87.
87. Okay. So then I was 10 or 11. When did it come out? What day? Do you know? Does it say? May.
It's your date. I think I gotta look for this.
Anyhow, I was 10 or 11 years old at the time, and the opening sequence is this girl topless in the bed, and she's like touching herself and doing all this other stuff, and like doing drugs.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting in there thinking to myself, oh, this is really like it was both really uncomfortable and really hot at the same time. I was like, oh my God, this chick's super hot, but I'm sitting next to my grandfather and my dad, so that was a little weird, but you know what, it's a great movie, and Merry Christmas. It's in my Christmas holiday watching stuff.
What a movie. I Lethal Weapon needs to have its like own presents one day. The
whole franchise, Lethal Weapon.
The whole franchise, because I could throw any of them on at any point, and I could watch any of them, all of them.
Yeah,
it's that good.
Yeah.
The release date, by the way, is March 6, 1987.
Okay, so I was 10 at that point. I would have been 11 about a month later. So yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So mine is a movie that came out in 1994 in the theaters. I hope my parents don't get mad for embarrassing like this. We were a big movie family, right? We would go to the movies whenever we could. And we went to this movie in 1994, which means I was 10 as well. So I was 10.
So I graduated from high school.
Yeah, well, just, we can't control when we're born,
Yeah.
So I was 10-year-old Stimp, and I always sat in front of him as a kid. So we'd get there like an hour early. That was a thing back then. You just get to the movie theater hour early.
My dad still does.
They didn't have assigned seating then,
Yeah.
So
yep.
I'm sitting in front of him, the movie starts. And there's a major sex scene pretty early on, and I can just feel my dad's foot come up from behind me and cover my face.
I have one of those actually too. I'll go back to, but yeah.
I mean, the theater, this big size 10 come and covers my face, and it happens so often that we have to leave the movie. Guess what movie it was?
I don't know. 1994. Little
known movie called Threesome.
Oh. How the hell you not see that coming?
Here's the funny part. We left the movie.
Like, there was a breakdown in communication. We thought this was something totally different. So
exactly what they would say. And so we left that movie early, and we snuck into the next movie, which was
Forrest Gump.
oh my gosh, I just
Jurassic Park.
no, it was like, I want to say Deer Hunter, but that wasn't it. It wasn't.
It's a Van Damme movie.
It was another movie we had to walk out of because it was like a really, really gory, gruesome movie.
It's just not your day.
I feel like we may have gotten into a third movie, but I cannot even life of me think of what movie it may have been. So we may have just gone home.
Little Mermaid at that point.
Yeah, it was just like, we are striking out. We are going home. You know, we can't pick the movies today. Can't see a movie today.
That's funny.
So I'll never forget. I'll never forget that foot coming up and just smothering my face, and then getting the tap on the shoulder.
I remember
being like, all right, we're out of here.
I'm trying to think. I remember we watched because we did watch a lot of movies and stuff as well, you know, and Eddie Murphy did this movie. Eddie Murphy did this like 80s. It was during the 80s, and it was like it's like Defense or something like that. I can't see if I can find it real quick. Best Defense is what it was, and like it's with him and Dudley Moore, and like my mom like loves Dudley Moore. She thought, you know, it was thought he was hilarious.
He was a popular actor.
Yeah, for sure. And like early on in the movie, I think Eddie Murphy is having relations with this one gal, and it's like blatant, like it's like and I remember my mom like throws the blanket over top of my eyes real quick, and she's like, you can't watch that, you know? And I was like, oh, I do want to watch that, but
yeah, I think I was like, I'll just go back and watch that movie as an adult, and I don't think I ever went back and watched Threesome.
Yeah,
I just think it might be for me. I'm looking for Surviving the Game.
The Game?
Oh man.
Oh, Surviving the Game with Van Damme or Ice-T.
Yes, I think it is with Ice-T. Surviving the Game.
Yeah.
What was it about though?
This group that like hunts. They like hire
hunt
Ice-T.
people, right?
Yeah, they hire Ice-T.
That's
exactly. Yeah, it's very. There was a Van Damme movie.
I was thinking Reindeer Games and Surviving.
Yeah.
Game. Okay.
There was a Van Damme movie made exactly like, almost exactly like it, but where they hunt homeless people, and that's what this one was. They hire him as like a a homeless guy, and as a survival
that's
guy.
The
or
movie.
Something.
That's the other movie we went into.
Yeah.
So good job.
Yep.
Surviving the Game, man, with Ice-T. That's and Gary
Busey. Rutger Hauer. It's actually got a great cast. John C. McGinley's in it. It's
F. Murray Abraham,
yep.
John C. McGinley, man. Charles Dutton, who's a slow clap guy, and Rudy.
Yeah, right.
It was not a good movie for, and you know what? This may have been for my birthday because Threesome came out on April 8th.
Oh. Threesome.
I'd have to go back and look
I don't even think I've seen that movie.
We're out at that time to see what we may have, if it was a third movie.
That's the wrong one.
It may have been 4 Weddings and a Funeral. I actually, now did I say that?
Threesome. Laura Flynn Boyle.
No, I don't know. We'll look it up. I'll put it in the comments if I find it. Tell us about a time that you felt awkward watching a movie, TV show, anything around your parents. And it happens, you know, now less as I watch less with my parents. But I still feel like if I'm like, oh man, I really like this show. But I kind of recommend it to my parents because I don't want them also see,
Right. Yeah.
so there's even some awkwardness in that,
Yeah.
in recommending. And of course, being,
I think Saturday night.
on a podcast that talks about this stuff, people come to me all the time for recommendations. And I have to be like, do I want them to know I watched this? Or,
Yeah. I want to say that there's a sketch from Saturday Night Live where it's this girl and she's talking about how she's got cast in this and she's got to show like she's got to get all naked and all this stuff, and like everybody's like totally, and then she goes, yeah, it's like then she tells them it's like an HBO, and they're all like, oh yeah, okay, that's fine, like totally, like all the different stuff. Like as soon as they find out that it's like an HBO thing, they're like, oh yeah, that's great,
Yeah. That's
and
totally
I feel
okay.
like that's how it is. It's like if you tell your parents, it's like, hey, there's this show, it's got a little bit of stuff, it's on HBO, everybody's like, oh okay, cool, yeah, I'll watch that.
It sets the expectation,
Right,
which is all life is setting expectations. And speaking of setting expectations, some of the stuff that we covered today, it's a little hard to temper our expectations, but it's probably still best to do so.
Yeah.
With everything on this list, you look at Indiana Jones, obviously you're tempering your expectations. The Last of Us, we haven't gotten a good video game adaptation, and this is the video game that everybody wanted adapted. So the expectations are super high. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, I mean, do we really think this is going to miss? No. But man, we were very confident in a lot of Phase 4 stuff. So who knows? Transformers 7, tempered. Super Mario Brothers, tempered. Jack Ryan Season 3 is my John Krasinski blind bias, whatever you want to call it. Blind bias? No. Blindfolders? Anyway, you know what I mean. I need to temper my expectations. Who knows? All of it. Good to temper those expectations.
Yep.
So all life is.
Yep.
And with the right expectations, great to be back on the show with you, Eric.
You too, buddy.
Love nerding out with you.
Good to be back.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited to start putting together some of the stuff that we've got going on next year, or at least start to talk about it here soon. One thing I think we should probably start gearing up for is our office Christmas holiday party.
Yeah.
That we have.
You gotta
do that again.
Get everybody up. Yep.
Just debauchery and shenanigans, but at minimum, we're gonna have a blast. So
yep.
I want you to have a blast with us. A lot of fun coming up. We've got a lot of great ideas for the Present show coming up. We've got some new. I've got a lot to announce, and I'm if I keep talking, I'm gonna announce it all. So I'm just gonna cut myself off right there. It's good to be back with you, buddy.
Yep. You too, buddy.
Good to be back with you nerds out there. With that being said, Eric, see you all next week on the Nerd Rundown.
See ya.